Peace, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Serrano. Welcome back to the channel. And one of the subscribers had said that they wanted to see a comparison of the LG Stylo 5 versus the Coolpad, but actually talk about which one is better instead of just showing like a speed test or like seeing which apps open up quicker and everything. So basically that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So this video is for anybody who's actually looking to purchase the LG Stylo 5 or the Coolpad Legacy. Alright, so the first thing I kind of want to do is talk about the specs and some of the features that each one has versus the other one, and some of the similar differences and similarities of each device. And then I'm going to talk about at the very end which one I think has the better features overall, which makes it a really cool device. So let's actually start out with the overall build. So as you can see right here on the LG Stylo 5, we have a polycarbonate back, and if you zoom in really closely, you might be able to pick up that there are a little bit of scratches on there, so the back of it is susceptible to scratches, so you should just keep that in mind. On the Legacy, not so much. I don't see any scratches on here whatsoever, so that's kind of cool. It's like a testament to the build quality of this thing. It's actually held up a lot better. Like the materials that are used on the back of here, I definitely prefer a lot better than this one. This one feels a lot more sturdy as well, whereas when you press on the LG Stylo 5 right here, it kind of gives like a little you could feel some give right here, but on the Coolpad it's actually nice and firm. Definitely feels a little bit more solid, more built. The build quality is definitely like a lot more solid, so I give the overall build quality to the Coolpad right away. But you can see the overall button placement is different. So we are getting the SIM tray right here, and right here. Whereas on the left side of the LG Stylo 5, you are getting volume controls. And on the Coolpad, you're getting volume and power on the same side. And there's no texture to differentiate power button. Whereas you're getting the power button on the other side of the LG Stylo 5. And then they're both having fingerprint sensors. And they both offer the same amount of storage and memory, but there's a catch with the LG Stylo 5, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail. But they do have 3.5mm headphone jacks. One is going to be at the top on the Coolpad Legacy, and you do see a microphone here to block out any wind when you're talking, and you also do get that with the LG Stylo 5 as well. And on the bottom, and you're going to see that you do get a grill for speakers on the bottom here. And you get one speaker grill, which in my opinion isn't the best in the world on the LG Stylo 5, but we'll get into that later in some more detail. And so that's pretty much the build quality. It's definitely going to go to the Coolpad when it comes to overall build quality. Now, also, when it comes to the speaker quality on the Coolpad Legacy, it's actually blowing the LG Stylo 5 out of the water. So let's just listen to the LG Stylo 5. And I have the equalizer all the way up to the top customization, so that's like the loudest it'll possibly get. Okay, now let's try out the Coolpad Legacy. And I can even turn the settings back to normal so you can see how it would sound when it's actually just on the regular mode. So as you can see, the speakers are just on a whole nother ballpark. So I definitely would recommend the speakers on the Coolpad Legacy as well. Alright, so let's go over the cameras on the back, which are on the Legacy. You're going to be getting a 16 megapixel along with a depth sensor, which is actually a real camera. It's a 5 megapixel camera sensor. And then on the LG Stylo 5, you're actually getting a 13 megapixel single shooter with LED flash, and you do get flash here as well. And on the front, on the Coolpad, you're actually getting, the Coolpad Legacy, you're getting a front-facing 13 megapixel camera, which is actually really nice. It's a really good front-facing camera, and has gives off really good light as well. And on the LG Stylo 5, you're getting a 5 megapixel camera, which is actually pretty decent as well. So I actually think that when it comes to the overall cameras, it's definitely going to be an advantage with the Coolpad Legacy because it has dual cameras, where the Stylo 5 only has one camera, plus the front-facing camera on the Coolpad Legacy is definitely a lot better than on the LG Stylo 5. So just keep that in mind. You also get this cool notification mode on the Coolpad. When you get notifications, you get double tap to wake on the LG Stylo 5. Now let's test out and see which fingerprint is quicker. 1, 2, 3. Let's try that one more time. 1, 2, 3. Looks like the LG Stylo 5 is quicker. 1, 2, 3. And it's about the same time. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so that was kind of even. But now I just want to talk about the advantages of the features that you're actually getting. Now you're getting 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi on both, so you're going to be able to connect to the fast internet, which is the 5 gigahertz band. And what's really cool is that both of these devices do offer Type-C charging on the bottom. Now let's talk about the storage real quick, because I want to touch on that before I go into anything else. And that is that when we open up the storage on both of these devices, you can see that when I go to games, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games on the Coolpad Legacy. And on the LG Stylo 5, I have 1 game. Now, why is that? Well, let's go into storage, and this is going to tell the story right here. And so we're just going to go into storage on both devices, and I'm going to talk about why I think these devices are, when it comes to storage, I definitely prefer the Legacy. And we have the comfort view right there, so it's a little bit yellow for the LG. So now you can see that both devices have about 25 gigabytes out of 32 used. But what's really crazy is that when we go into the internal storage, I have no games on here, less than 33 megabytes of the games, and I have 5 gigabytes of games on here. And so all the other apps are pretty much the same. We're at 7. And system apps, this is where the LG Stylo 5 is like really slipping right here, because they take up 16 gigabytes of system memory, whereas on the Coolpad Legacy it only takes up 8.9. So basically right out of the box, the storage for the LG Stylo 5 already takes up 16 out of your 32 gigabytes. So I have 7, 8 left, which is actually, I could download like maybe 2 games, but I already have like 10 or 11 games on here. So if you're trying to be into gaming or whatever, I definitely recommend that you get this device, because one of the other things is that if you try to move your apps to the SD card, which I have an SD card on the LG Stylo 5, you won't have the ability. It's like you have no SD card, because this is only good for music, photos and videos and files, but you can't move apps to this SD card slot on the LG Stylo 5. So basically, this memory that I have, the 64 gigabyte storage, it is used, but basically it's really just for photos and videos. It's not for apps. So basically they take away all the storage on this device. So I'm not quite sure why they did that, because on the LG Stylo 4 you can move your apps to the SD card, which actually would save you memory in the long run, but you're not able to do that. So that's one of the reasons why I actually think that the Coolpad is better. So far the Coolpad I would recommend is better in the build quality, the storage as well. And so now we're going to talk about the displays. And also one thing I'm going to talk about now is actually the features before we jump into the displays of these devices. Now you're getting NFC on the LG Stylo 5, which is actually pretty cool. So you get NFC, and that means you can actually make mobile payment. But on the Coolpad you don't get NFC. So if you need mobile payment, I definitely would recommend the LG Stylo 5, because you could use mobile payment. But when it comes to the Coolpad Legacy, you're not going to be able to use mobile payment, but you can actually cast the screen and connect to a Roku or a smart TV. But on the LG Stylo 5 you cannot connect to the Roku or smart TV, because they actually don't have the screencast feature on the LG Stylo 5. So if you're looking to cast your phone's screen and make a copy of it onto a TV with the screencast feature, you can do that on the Coolpad Legacy, but not on the LG Stylo 5. So I just want to make that clear. And you also do get the Stylus Pen on the LG Stylo 5, which is actually pretty cool, because if you wanted to, you could use this phone for taking notes and just a lot of photos with the extra storage card, but you can't really play games on it. You could only like read books, draw, and take notes and stuff like that, and like watch YouTube, maybe some Netflix and stuff like that. But you're not going to really be gaming a lot on this device. Even though it can handle like a lot of games and stuff like that, it won't be able to store all of them at once. You'll have to like download one or two at a time and then uninstall those, and then download the ones. Like you'll have to keep going back, and you can't keep all of them on your SD card at once or your internal storage at once, because it just doesn't offer that feature. So if you're looking to actually game, since this device, the Stylo 5, has the same exact processor as the LG Stylo 4, it only has 1 gigabyte extra of RAM, which actually makes it a little bit snappier. But what else can I talk about? Now that we talked about the features that both phones did have to offer, such as the screencast on here and NFC on here, the batteries were actually pretty good on the both of these devices. You're getting really good batteries when it comes to both of these phones, and just to say the least, you're gonna get about a day or so for each phone, and you're not gonna have any real issues. Now with the Legacy, you're actually gonna be able to get a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So the battery on here is actually a lot better than on the LG Stylo 5, because it has a bigger battery cell, which is actually pretty cool. So again, the Coolpad did take the battery. As far as I'm concerned, it has a bigger 4,000 milliamp hour battery, which is gonna you can also use some battery saver options on both devices, which is actually pretty cool. And if you guys don't know, definitely join this group right here called Android Circle. That's my group on Facebook. So definitely just search for Android Circle, and you can join my Facebook group all about tech. If you're like a fan of like like tech and everything, definitely join my Facebook group. But as far as overall fluidity of both devices, they're actually both really smooth. They're both running on the same 450 series processor, which is actually it's not bad with 3 gigabytes of RAM. But last year it was actually bad with 2 gigabytes of RAM on the LG Stylo 4. But now that they put an extra gigabyte of RAM, I gotta say both of these devices are actually both really snappy when it comes to overall like performance and everything like that. So I gotta say it's a tie when it comes to how snappy they are, because they're actually both running on the same like processor and everything. So I can't really give it to one. I'm not sure why it's like showing these ones bigger than on this one, which is kind of weird. So I gotta say they're both equally quick. Now a lot of people were saying that there was some lag on the Coolpad, which is kind of weird, or like some they said there was like it would freeze, which is it did freeze on me like in a game before. Like that definitely happened to me on the Coolpad, but overall my it's kind of favoring the Coolpad because it has a better build quality and it has better storage options and better camera as well. And it's definitely has a bigger display at 6.4 inches and a bigger battery versus the 6.2 inches and the 3,500 milliamp battery that the Stylo 5 has. So these are some of the reasons why I could definitely say that the Coolpad Legacy is better than the LG Stylo 5. But if you aren't going to be gaming on the LG Stylo 5 and you're just going to be using it for day-to-day stuff like social media and watching Netflix, banking, music, and videos and stuff, and like notes, reading books and like stuff like that, then I could definitely recommend it. Now it does come with this game launcher, which doesn't really help because you can't put that many games on here unless they're like really small games. But as you can see, I can fit 2 big games on here plus a bunch of small games. Three big games. So I wasn't really able to fit all my games on the LG Stylo 5, which was sort of annoying because of they have this thing called the Smart World, and they have the LG UI on here, and just this whole skin that they have going on just like takes up 16 gigabytes, which is half of the storage that the phone does have to offer, which kind of sucks. But I hope you guys found this video helpful in any way possible. Also, the screens are comparable, but this one is 1080 full HD on the LG Stylo 5. So it's basically going to be 1080 by 2160, 18:9 aspect ratio, and 380 pixels per inch, whereas you're getting 1080 actually on you're actually getting full HD on both devices. My bad. I was thinking of the Alcatel 3V, which was 720, but both of these devices do have 1080 by 2160s, 18:9 aspect ratio, but the 390 pixels per inch is on the LG Stylo 5 and 380 on the Coolpad Legacy. But everything else is identical, the storage and everything like that, even the processors too. And even the screen technology is the same, and even the LG Stylo 5 does have a bigger aspect ratio at 79.8 screen to body versus 78.2. But if you want to know my overall opinion, I could definitely say that the Coolpad Legacy would be a better option. So thank you guys for staying locked in with me, and it's your boy Serrano. But in the meantime, have a great morning, afternoon, evening, and depending on where you are, have a great night. Later, crew. Peace.